Hey guys and girls, welcome back to BBR Suspension. Okay, today we are going to be repairing a little dent in a two-stroke pipe. There's a young rider, it's a Husqvarna TC85, and he's really disappointed. The bike fell over and he dinged his pipe, really upset. So we're going to see if we can fix this for him. We're going to go through motions. There's a couple of different ways to repair a pipe, and all the different ways have their merits. So basically the two main ways is to blow the pipe is to pressurize the inside either with water. In that instance, pressurize to a very high pressure and use shock by tapping around the dent with a plastic mallet or a nylon mallet, and normally the dent will pop. However, because this is on the seam, you're going to find two problems. Normally the seam is quite thick and it won't pop. That's the first issue. And then the second problem is to get the water pressure high enough to pop this on stock pipes. Because the material is slightly thicker, they often blow the seam. So on stock pipes like this, I prefer to use compressed air and a little bit of heat. I've done plenty of pipes like this. So we'll basically plug the ends, and what we're going to do, we're going to silver solder. I've got some fittings that I've made up in the past. We're going to silver solder these into the ends. That is a quick coupler for a standard compressed air line. So we'll silver solder that into that end, and then the blank on the actual header where that goes in, we'll silver solder that in there. What I've done so long, I've taken the two O-rings which fit into the header to seal against the cylinder. I've taken those out. Those O-rings won't withstand the heat, so you've got to get those out. We'll put them back in later, but we'll just put them aside for now. So what we'll do is we'll get started by silver soldering the blanking plugs in. We'll then cool those off, and then we'll apply the compressed air, and we'll put a bit of heat on here, and you'll see the dent will pop out relatively easily. Right, two little dents, one there, we'll get them both out. Let's get started. Right guys, so what we're going to do, oxyacetylene porta pack. I'm not too sure if porta packs are available overseas. In South Africa, it's a portable oxyacetylene kit. We'll get it fired up. We're then going to use some Easy Flow Braze-Tech flux. And what the flux does is it's an acid base. It'll clean the parent or the two materials. And then we use a silver solder stick. Main reason, silver will adhere to quite a few different materials. So if you've got dissimilar metals, and between the flux and the silver, we'll make sure that it sticks to the chrome. What I've also done on the pipe where we're going to be silver soldering, I've used a little bit of emery tape and just cleaned off the excess carbon and dirt so that we give a good keyed surface for the silver solder to adhere to. So we'll get these fittings silver soldered in quickly, cool them off, and then we'll get cracking with the dent repair. So we'll fire up. We'll get a little bit of heat going onto these fittings, and then what we'll do, we heat the end of the rod, get a little bit of flux on. Got to get this relatively hot before the silver solder is going to start flowing, but you want to get a bit of flux on just to clean that surface. So that's what we're doing now. The secret is keep moving the flame around, don't keep it still in one spot. Silver solder likes to get tickled by the flame, so we'll get that running around. So that's the fitting where we're going to be putting the compressed air line onto. Still glowing cherry red. What we'll do is we'll set this up in the vise. We'll just kill the flame. Still rolling. Okay. Right, so we get some flux running nicely around this header. Give it a little bit of heat. Right there, the silver solder starts to flow, so we can get it flowing nicely all the way around. If you put the flux on right, you literally just walk the flame and the silver solder will follow. Right, we've got a nice bead all the way around. So what we'll do, we'll let that cool off to kill the flame. We'll let that cool off for a few minutes, and then we'll get the compressed air going and get some heat and get these dents out. Right, we'll let it cool off, and then I'll be back in a second. Okay, right guys, so we've got the two fittings silver soldered onto the pipe. Take a compressed air line. I run around about 4 to 4.5 bar pressure on this, and what we'll do, we'll just connect that on. Check, we should be good to go there. Right, then what we're going to do, we're going to work on these two dents. So what we'll do, we'll get the torch fired up. We'll tackle the little one first, and then we'll get over to the bigger one, which is going to require a little bit of heat on the seam to get the seam to pop straight, and we'll take it from there. So got a glove on the left hand, welding glove, because the pipe can get hot. So again, protection is very important when you're working with open flames and welding equipment. You don't want to get burnt. Just takes the fun out of it. Okay, so for the pipe, I like to run a gentle flame so that we control the heat input into the pipe. So what we'll do, we're going to work on this one first, on the small dent at the top. Grab actually from underneath. And what we'll do, we'll start to gently heat the area around the dent. The pipe will start to warm up, and you need to get it pretty red, and then play with the flame, and you'll get that little dent out. So you work around the dent towards the center of the dent, and then that air pressure in the pipe will push that to the surface, and work that one a smidge more. There we go. So that one's out. Now we're going to tackle the big one on the side. So what we'll do is we're going to start getting a little bit of heat onto the seam first. The seam we've got to get pretty hot to get it to release. And we'll work around the dent slowly. Get a little bit of heat into the seam. As we heat the seam, the heat will spread through the material, and it will slowly start to release. But we've got to get that seam to pop first. So get that seam nice and red, nice cherry red, and it should start to come out. So we'll work the dent. So there the dent's already starting to push. We'll get the flame around the rest of the dent. There she comes now. There it's pushing out. There we go. Unfortunately, the line, whatever the bike fell against the edge of a rock, something like that, you're not going to get that line out completely. But let's try and just get the seam to release a little bit more. Right, there we go. Dent is out. What we'll do, we'll just give a little bit more on the top of that thing where the corner was. See if we can get a little bit more release on that sharp edge. And down to the seam. And that's how we do it, guys. So let's kill the flame. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll give this a few minutes to cool off, and then what we'll do, we'll release the air pressure. Once we got the pressure released, we're going to unsweat the fittings. So basically what we do is we heat them up to melt the silver solder. We'll pull them off, and then we just take a file and we clean. I've got a pneumatic power file, so we just clean the excess silver solder off the pipe, and we can refit the rings and we're good to go. Right guys, so we got the dent taken out, and my son said we've got to show you how we unsweat these things, even though I didn't think it was necessary. So let's get them removed, and then you can see how they get taken off. So we basically get the flame going again. So we need quite a bit of heat to get these loose. So just get the part heated up. We can just grip this needle nose pliers. We'll clean that up. So be careful with these, they're damn hot. Don't want to touch that with your bare hands. So similarly with the bottom one. So the bottom one we're going to heat up. This one takes a bit more heat to get loose. Obviously a bigger fitting. Once you got it nice and cherry red, there she comes. and it's out. So what we'll do, we'll let that pipe cool down, and then we'll just grind off the excess silver solder, put the O-rings back, and it can go back on the bike. Right guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Hit the subscribe button. Help the channel grow. Thanks guys. Take care until next time. Cheers.